Alright guys, today on my RC channel we're going to go over the cars from this versus that and the damages that happened during the ramp test. Because that is an important part of evaluating which RC car you want to get. So follow along as we pick through these cars and see what damage happened. Alright, first up we have the Traxxas snadcar, which I initially thought one of the spur gear had gone out, but what had really happened was one of the motor plugs had come unplugged. Otherwise, big damages on this thing. A lot of people struggle with this front shock tower. We did not break that, but what we did do is we bent both front rotors. No big deal. That was a $15 part. Moving on into the back, there's no real damage to the whole car. No cracks in the chassis. Everything seems to be fine except for that axle. Right, up next we have the XRT. Its axles are straight. I don't see any issues with this car at all, actually. Shock shafts are straight. What did eventually put this car out, let me get the body off here. I love this Traxxas clipless mounting system, by the way. But here you can see my soldering job came undone, and that right there was just apparently a cold solder joint. That is the only damage to this truck. So in that way, this truck, you know, is the lowest cost to repair, because that is just remelting the solder. So yeah, the XRT, basically no damage. It was just my own solder job was the problem. Alright, up next we have the X-MAXX on steroids. The screws did pull out of my unbreakable front bumper assembly, which apparently is breakable. But our shock shafts are straight. This axle here happens to be bent a little bit, but it's been, or I'm sorry, dog bone. One of these front dog bones is bent a little bit. But it's been bent for a long time. That was not actually from the ramp test. That was from bashing it around. But, you know, every time I drive this thing, it kind of goes through a bumper. So I'm going to make it, or design an unbreakable rear bumper for this thing as well. Obviously, issues with the body. These things, they like to, when they go up on wheelies, they tend to grab the body and fold it backwards, which it does not like. Let's see, underneath here, our shock shafts are still nice and straight. The fan mount broke. That was a laser cut piece out of acrylic this time. I think next time I'll use polycarbonate. I did lose one of the blades off the fan. That was probably in the first jump because I noticed it kind of started sounding funny. My BEC came loose from its mount, but is not damaged. That was just double-sided sticky taped up. I did pull the bolt through on the rear shock tower. So this, put a washer on there. So maybe you guys on your new trucks, you can pull out that screw and just put a nice big fat washer on there. Might keep that from happening. This is the first time I've had this happen on an XMAXX. That diff cup right there broke in half. That is kind of a known issue with these. And they do make a ring for that thing that goes on the outside of it that strengthens it up. So I might get a set of those. But as you can see here from this one, they wear really fast. They're not greased from the factory, so they get like that just after a couple of packs. So when you get one of these trucks new, I highly recommend going through and actually putting grease in those and in the CV joints. They don't actually grease them, so I do recommend getting a set of these boots. I'll add the link below where I got those boots from. Those are pretty cool, and they do keep grease in there and keep it nice and clean. So this truck really was a shock tower, but that's repairable. The fan mount, that was my own design, but you know, the stock ones fail pretty much as easily. And then the cup, that's not a whole lot of damage. That these diff cups are about 15 bucks from Amains. Not a big deal. The axle itself is pretty okay. Alright, last but not least is the armor KRATON. Let's see, let's get this wing off, body off, so we can actually take a look underneath. Looking at it, that axle's cool. These shock shafts are nice and straight. Oh, that shock is loose. It's not broken, that is just kind of loose. So that axle is straight. This axle, or dog bone, Definitely needs a dog bone. You guys noticed the wacky camber. That happened basically after the first jump. This car, when I bought it, was kind of like that. And, you know, in the later model of this truck's release, they redesigned this upper link here. So I suspect that that's kind of a common issue with these. That is just my intuition. These bits of plastic, you get a whole link kit for 12 bucks. And then this axle from Arma was $23 per an event. Otherwise, there's no damage to this car. This car just took everything in stride, no issues. Let me check the chassis. Maybe is the chassis bent? This chassis is pretty straight. So this car is a dog bone, and the upper rear links just the plastics. The links themselves are actually straight. So looking at about 35 bucks to fix this car, no problem. One of the nails or screws on the ramp did happen to grab this pretty good, but I'm not so concerned about that skid. I wouldn't call it broken. It's a little worn, but not broken. So I'm gonna say nothing is real broken on this car. Everything just kind of survived. No problem on this car.
Nice.
Alright guys, well that wraps it up for this video talking about the repairs for these cars. That car is fixed. That car is fixed. That car is fixed. I gotta finish fixing that one the rest of the morning. It is 2:30 a.m. I'm just finishing up this video for you guys, my beloved audience. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys made it all the way through this video, you are awesome. Hit that bell, hit that thumbs up, hit all that bull, and maybe tomorrow I'll be taking these out to the beach and dragging them. Maybe I won't. But thanks for tuning in.